There's no rule against the tripod, but there's also no rule against people walking through your frame.
Yeah, that's
also,
insane.
you happen to not be disarming a nuclear bomb. You ain't doing some important shit, motherfucker. You're doing easy curls. It's all right if someone walks through your frame.
Yeah. What is going on, YouTube fitness family? We're back here again with another video with Dr. Mike. We have a really fun video for you guys planned. It was actually impromptu. We thought it'd be fun for Mike to just interview with me on some questions he would find interesting, and maybe you guys as viewers would find interesting about me, my bodybuilding, my businesses, life, whatever it is. I don't know what the questions are, so he's gonna hit me rapid fire, and we'll see where this goes. But
on today's segment of Getting to Know Eric Janicki. All right, I got a few questions.
to me.
First one. As of this filming, you are not yet a pro bodybuilder. What if you never turn pro? Would that upset you a lot? Would it upset you a little and you get over it in a few weeks? Would it be a cataclysmic thing that even when you were 80, you were like, God damn it? Or would it be a thing that you were like, fuck it, I'm making a shitload of money and I'm jacked and tan and I live in California, so fuck it.
I think for me right now, I'm so in it, and being 3.5 weeks out, I think like that thought to me is like so crushing, especially being so close 2 years in a row.
Second place.
Yes, 2 years in a row. So now going into this year, the thought process has been for me almost like the pro card is a formality, and I want to like step on with like some of the guys I emulate. So yes, if I were to go into Vancouver and not get my pro card, I think I'd be like pretty demoralized. Like I'm really digging for this and I'm trying to be the best version of myself. And I feel like it's worthy of a pro card at this point. So I think it's like, I'm trying not even put that thought in my head. Phil's asked me this, my videographer. And he's like, dude, what if you don't win? I'm like, it's crazy.
Shut up, Phil.
It's crazy. I haven't even I don't want to even put that as an option in my head, because like it gives me a little bit of leeway to be like, pull off the gas. Like I'm so close now. Like now it's just a matter of getting peeled. Like I just don't think.
Sean Clarita has a phrase, no plan B.
Yeah.
This is it. Plan B will work out if you fuck up. Some shit happens. You'll work out a plan B, but right now just plan A, right? Only one plan.
But yeah, I think at a deeper level, I think I have enough foresight and also just knowledge in what I value as a person that I know it's like right now it's so close and it's like your tunnel vision. But I think once I was to get past it and I have my family and my businesses and my health and my like social media following and the value I'm driving outside of bodybuilding, just because like bodybuilding is a very thankless sport and you don't really get much from it. It's definitely like I feel like it's more for yourself. Like if you're doing bodybuilding to like earn money or try to get sponsorships, it's usually not going to go very well for you. Like every good bodybuilder I know is like just fucking loves it, loves doing it, loves the process. So I think if that doesn't work out for me, like I have these other avenues where I find a lot of happiness, and as much as it would be a hard pill to swallow, like I have other things to fall back on in my life. So like that would be a recommendation from me to you, if like you're young and bodybuilding is like taking over so much of your life that you don't have much else, I would recommend you that you start to like think about other avenues, because bodybuilding is not forever. It's usually not the most healthy thing in the world. It's not going to provide to you monetarily. It's very actually expensive. On the contrary, it takes away your time, takes away your energy, takes away a lot of your focus and motivation to do other things. So yeah, I would say for me, it's a very large goal, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it'd make me like a lesser person or make me feel as though like, oh fuck, like I really screwed up by not getting my pro card.
Yeah. On the positive side, similar question. What will turning pro, and I'm betting you turn pro, be it very likely in your next show, but look, you're still alive, you're still young, you're still healthy. It could be the show after the show after. People go on runs. Nick Walker took a few shows to turn pro, and now he's Nick Walker. What will it mean for you to turn pro in here? Anything?
It'll mean for me, if you've never done a bodybuilding prep or you've never really like tried to compete at that highest level, it's hard to really understand like what you have to like put yourself through to get to that point. And for me, it would just be that moment of elation of like, I literally got through those fucking hard days. I got through the shit that I didn't want to do. You know, after this, like I really just want to go home and eat, but I'm going to go, I have like bought a day pass so I can go and like do cardio at a nearby gym. So like there's things that like I've had to make sacrifice on. And for me, it's just like that accumulation of sacrifices in that moment for me. And that just like handing over the pro card is like validation that I didn't give up. Even after losing last year and the year before that. And so it's more for me and my, I guess, belief in myself that I can do it. And I do really think that a big part of it for me too is like, I believe a lot in my training style and like how I conduct myself in and out of the gym. And I don't like, and I think a lot of people are like, oh, bodybuilders don't even train well. They just take a ton of gear. It's all genetics. Whereas like, I want to be an advocate for, yes, PEDs are a part of it. Yes, all of this like supplements, everything is a part of it. But training efficiency is a huge part of recovery. All the other things that I try to advocate about on my channel, I want to show that that can come to fruition and I could be a top level pro, even though maybe I'm taking a lot less than some of these other guys.
That makes sense, man. That's dope. You're kind of you're the lady in front of the ship for proper training. And we got to ram that ship into the pro ranks. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's like, I feel like a lot of pressure for that because I think there's a lot of still the top pros are like the slang it and bang it, like just train like till the wheels fall off, joints fall out. Like if it hurts, it's better. And I think that you conflate working hard with like just working dumb, whereas like you can work really fucking hard within the confines of like actually making smart decisions with your training. And like the arm and shoulder workout we did today was like immensely brutal and like mentally taxing, and like I could barely like lift my arms and shoulders, but there was no point in that single session that like I had any joint pain. I felt like we were like, I had to like lift the heaviest dumbbells in the gym, or I had to like stack out a machine in order to feel like I got a good training session. So I think all of those principles I'd like to be shown more to more people, because yes. I think a lot of people emulate top level bodybuilders like, oh, that's how I should be training.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Any era. What is your name one? You can name more than one. And it doesn't have to be your top. I hate like name your number one favorite, because you're like, it kind of depends on the day. From your group of top 5 or top 3 favorite bodybuilders of all time. And let me clarify, this is very important. The look. Give a fuck if they're a good family person. That's actually what matters in life, but just the look. Any era. Who's the person? It's like for me, again, it's not the answer, but Kevin Levrone, his hands clasp muscular, it's just such nonsense that I stare at it for hours and I'm like, what is this? It's beyond inspirational, because like that doesn't relate to me in any way. But who is your bodybuilder that when you look at their physique, their best shots, and you're like, fuck?
Probably Dexter Jackson.
Dexter Jackson. Which pose? I mean, all of them.
All of them. I mean, the most muscular, front relaxed,
side chest.
Bicep, side chest, front double bicep, like the aesthetics and like how everything tied in. It was so bubbly. Chris Cormier honestly had an amazing physique.
Amazing.
As well. I think I really did like Milos's look.
Milos had a great look. Milos had that look where he had the pro look and he was a great pro competitor, but if he pulled a shirt off in his prime, still actually looks phenomenal. In his prime, if he pulled a shirt off at the beach, a lot of people wouldn't be like, ugh, they'd be like, whoa.
I think it was like he did a great job of balancing, like you have that really great aesthetics, still really cut midsection,
yes,
not blown out at all, like, and he never really like got to that top level because he never wanted to sacrifice that look just to put on 20 more pounds of muscle. And so like I think he had a a great look. I mean, I do love Sebum. I think
Sebum has a look.
his look is just insane. I'm a big fan of the classic vision. If I had the structure for it, I would love
Sure. Yeah, you and I kind of saw ourselves out of that one.
Yeah.
What do you think of Keon Pearson?
I think Keon is one of the most impressive physiques of our generation. In the sense of like, it's just the proportions and the bubbliness and like everything about his physique just like makes no sense.
And the waist makes even less sense.
Makes even less sense. But like that's why bodybuilding illusion. Like Keon peeled is like 205 pounds. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of people would look at him and be like, oh, he's got to be like humongous. But it's really about like bodybuilding is about symmetry, proportion, conditioning, and just how you're like. I mean, unfortunately, is like joint size, waist, wrists, like how everything ties in, how bubbly you are. That all makes a difference, and he checks all those boxes in the sense of like, I guess the only thing you could like dock him down for is like his abs just genetically, they like split in the middle. So like when he does hit like front end abs, it doesn't have that like really aesthetic, like nice midsection, but when he pulls a vacuum, it's insane.
It's because he can pull a vacuum, that almost doesn't matter, and that's kind of his only weakness. Amazing answer. All right, your favorite muscle group to train, not your favorite one to look at. I'd actually like that answer too. Give me two. Your favorite muscle group on yourself to train, and then your favorite muscle on yourself that you're like, if I had the genetics for all the rest of my muscles that I do for my XYZ muscle, I would straight up be fucking completely different bodybuilder.
Favorite muscle group to train is legs, I think, unequivocally. I think it's just like the mental exercise of it, the like just the full body component. Like it's for me, like it's almost like a Zen state. So whereas like shoulders today, it's like such an acute burn, but like legs, you just have to be so in it. And obviously everything stems from the base up. And I think my leg training has become so much more enjoyable because I have been doing so much more like the full ROM stuff, and joints feel great, knees feel great. But I think in terms of like wacky factor, probably like delts or arms for me.
Delts
for
or
sure.
arms, yeah, fuck your arms. Dumbass arms.
Dumbass arms.
Jealousy-inducing arms. How much, if I want to be successful in bodybuilding, I'm 25 to 30 years old, 20 to 25, say 25 to 30. I'm sauced up or whatever. I'm trying to turn pro. I'm trying to become my best. I'm already a pro. I'm trying to make an impact. And I talk to you and I ask you, listen, how much does driving my body weight up to an all-time high in the off-season matter? What do you tell me?
I tell you it matters to a certain degree, of the sense of like what we need to look at more so is what of that like scale weight change is obviously adipose tissue versus lean tissue accumulation versus inflammation, water. Like a lot of drugs that these guys do will basically artificially induce very high levels of weight increases. So like if you're going to do something like D-ball or Anadrol, like you could easily put on like 15, 20 pounds in a month, but is that muscle? Like absolutely not. Is there some muscle there? Yes. But that's why I tell people don't focus as much on the scale weight as you do on the look. So like if you're just chasing the number, what's going to happen is you're probably going to put on more body fat than's necessary. And then that's going to take longer for you to cut down. So maybe that 1, 2, 3, 4 pounds of additional muscle you put on by getting like really high body fat, you're going to lose that and probably some more in like a super prolonged and maybe aggressive caloric deficit. So my recommendation is when people are growing is to try to stay between that like 12 to 14% body fat range so that you are within, let's say, striking distance, not 6 weeks out, but you can do a 14, 16 week bodybuilding prep where you're not pushing anything more than, let's say, 300 to 500 calorie deficit in order to get into contest shape in 16 weeks. So I think that there can be some benefit, because if you do push to your highest scale weight ever and you're doing the things right and you're staying within a reasonable body fat percentage, absolutely, you're probably have the most lean tissue that you ever had.
It's a better sign than not.
Yes. So it's not, let's not make it the end all be all, but it can be one biofeedback metric that we can use to determine progress. Because on the converse, if let's say you do a full off season and you're literally sitting at the exact same weight for 6 months and composition isn't like improving, we can pretty much deduce that you haven't put on all that much, if any, muscle. So like, yes, it is important to keep track of, but it's also not the end all be all.
Tired of generic fitness plans that never get you results? Say goodbye to the guesswork with my one-on-one coaching. It offers personalized strategies for maximum results and sustainability. Ready to elevate your physique? Fill out an application today. Link in the description.
Excellent. Very related, and I will switch the script to a few different kinds of questions. How much does a high contest weight matter on stage? And you and I did chat about this before, so I know you have some shit to say. So for example, like Jared Feather, IFBB Pro, I always say that for some reason. It's my biological son. I'm so proud of my kid, my boy. Jared, I'm kidding. Don't fucking kill me. So he'll coach some folks. He coaches a lot of people. He'll coach some folks that'll see a new low body weight in their prep. And they still have a few weeks left until they hit the stage. And they're like, you see that number? That's too low. He'll come back to them and be like, how do you look? And they're like, my best ever by a long shot. And he's like, so shut up about it. But as a man, it hurts to get under 220 or whatever that number is, 240, 260, 200. If you're coaching a bodybuilder and he starts telling you, look, I'm too light, what's your response?
I mean, yes, there are like, the weight on stage is going to matter so much less than how conditioned you are and how well you peak. So like if it takes you, let's say you wanted to be 230, but like to be actually peeled, you need to be 217. You're going to look so much better at 217 and then fill out than like just being 230 and like holding way too much body fat, because you're going to look so much smaller than you would have if you got peeled. Because it's all, bodybuilding is an illusion. So like the tighter you are and the more lines you have and the more separation you have, the more impressive you look. So like we talked about it, like Derek Lunsford, Mr. Olympia is like low 230s. Martin Fitzwater, up and coming, almost beat Nick Walker, who was like 30 pounds heavier on stage, low 230s, maybe 229. So the look is so much more important than the scale weight. And if you need to lose weight in order to get to your best look, that is the best option for you. Like that, if the scale weight is not, you're not happy with it, that's not something you should be trying to fix within like 4 or 6 weeks of the show. Like diet down, get stage ready, get peeled if that's the decision you made, and then make a more concerted effort in your off season to be a little bit more focused. So next time you come down to that same level of conditioning, maybe you're 4, 6, 8, 10 pounds heavier because you've had a methodical off season. But don't get so tied to the scale weight, because you might not have been in show shape or the best shape you could have been the last time you competed. So even if it's the lower than the last time you competed, it might just mean that you're going to be like 3, 4, 5% more conditioned, which is a great thing. You're probably going to look so much better. So I think for me and for anybody that's getting coached, it's really about getting to the look you need to get to in terms of like body fat percentage, and then worrying less about the scale weight. And then in the off season, maybe make that like fucking light a fire under your ass to be like, yeah, I kind of did fuck off for like 2 months after my show last year when I could have been rebounding more efficiently. And then there was that like month in the summer where I basically only trained like 2 days a week. Like, don't get mad about the fact that you're not the scale weight on stage you want to be if you didn't like maximize your off season, or you took a 3-month off season and went right back into prep. Yeah. So those are the biggest things I think I would look at.
I used to coach like actual athletes or whatever, no offense to us. And sometimes you see people who you know characteristically don't try a practice or at weights. The team will lose a game and they're crying. I'm like, fuck, what you crying for? What you crying for? We got weights tomorrow. Stop crying here, cry more during weights, and then the shit will happen for you. Same idea. You want to be big on stage. It's every day that matters, not like, oh, I'm 3 weeks out. better increase my calories so I don't have to see 219 on the scale or some shit like that.
You're gonna look worse. Like, get peeled. Like, get light. The judges don't know how much you weigh on stage.
Literally.
They're not like cross-referencing your like pre like your scale weight from like when you did your check-ins. They're not like, oh, Eric was only like 251 pounds. I don't know if that's big enough to be a pro yet. Like,
Yeah, no one's doing that. All right, flipping the script one last time, a little group of questions. What social media trends recently in the past few years, few months, do you think are good? And which ones do you think are like, I don't want to say bad, but kind of like, ugh. So, for example, ultra short TikTok reels as a way of trying to inform people, I would say is like not great because there's so much missing context. Like we do a ton of reels at RP on the YouTube or shorts, and I'll say some shit and then people will like debate in the comments, but someone will bring up like, guys, this is from a longer video. It totally makes sense in context. So to me, I would say that's not a negative trend, but kind of like then to me, the trend of like the Joe Rogan style long form interview is like an awesome social media trend. What do you think, especially in the bodybuilding fitness space? Because you see a lot of social media over there in LA. You're a huge participant in it. Which trend or trends do you think are like, hey, this is great, hope it continues? And which ones you're like, it's fine, but I'd like to see it go another way?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that there's been a movement back towards long form media that gives the whole picture. So like, for example, like RP Strength YouTube is popping off, and like some of your more educational videos on like optimal rest times and like, let's say, how to create a caloric deficit or how to structure your training program efficiently, like what's too much volume. It allows Mike to get into more nuance that says, hey, this is what the research says, but hey, if you're a super trained athlete or an enhanced lifter, you have to also think about this. Like, you can't talk about all that stuff in a short form video. So I think moving back towards long form, because I think in 2020, it was like everybody's just like swipe.
Yes.
And now I've seen, even myself, like I consume so much less short form video. Like the app I find myself opening all the time now is YouTube. Just because I'd rather like watch something with a little bit more like value. And I think the converse is the trend I think is the most dangerous. Reels that are 40 seconds where somebody says, here's why vegetables are bad. Here's why you should only be eating this type of meat. Here's why like this ingredient is going to kill you. Like those things are so nuanced, like artificial sweetener debate. Let's say, organic versus not organic. Like these are such deep, nuanced topics that if somebody claims to be able to like put out enough information in like a 55-second reel to educate you, they're probably trying to sell you some like bullshit program or product, or they're monetizing in some way to feed off of their basically fear rhetoric that they're utilizing in that very short period of time. So, and the more divisive it is, the more views it gets. So like the more crazy they can make these arguments, obviously the more people are going to tune in to watch it, comment, share it with their friends. Because if you're like, hey, we have to be cognizant of what kind of pesticides people are like these companies are using on our fruits, but that's not to say you shouldn't eat fruit. Like here's some good ways to clean it. Like the reel that gets the most views is you need to cut out all fruits out of your life and vegetables because this is what they're fucking doing to your food. Yeah. So everything that uses like divisive fear-based rhetoric is like popping off, I've noticed, and I feel like that can be very dangerous because uneducated people, which we all are uneducated in a lot of subjects. Like I'm not educated in accounting, rocket science. So like I can't be aware of if what I'm being told is factual or not. But in a long form, you can start to really like dig into these nuances, and I think that's why I love YouTube, and I hope to continue to build this platform and be able to really like not have to make my content so captivating in a 15 to 30 second. Because like even
you are great at that though, and your shit is fucking hilarious. But here's the thing. Your short form content is entertaining and is designed to be entertaining. It's not designed to like teach you a ton of shit in 30 seconds. I think that's maybe where people get wrong is I think a lot of people who swipe and look at reels, after 20 minutes of reel swiping, they like felt like they learned something, but they didn't.
Yeah.
But after 20 minutes of reel swiping for entertainment, you are thoroughly entertained. Mission accomplished.
So yeah, I think if you can use your short form to entertain and maybe lead people to a product that maybe like provides more value, like my YouTube, I think it can be like or if you're just there to like have fun and make skits and whatever, like, and it's not hurting anybody, I think it's a great way to like, cause I mean, I follow a bunch of like skit type, influencers, and they're not like making fun of people. Usually they're making fun of themselves, if nothing else. So I think that type of content is totally permissible.
I love it. The big guys at the gym, the huge guys, most people's gyms have a few like jack dudes. What can you reliably assume as an onlooker that big guys probably have figured out and you might be able to take some insight from? That's part one of the question. Part two is predictably, what stuff do big guys get wrong consistently and only a few big guys do right in the gym? What can I learn from big guys and what should I probably not learn from big guys?
If you see a big guy in the gym, what you can predictably assume is they are using progressive overload in some capacity. So they're training and pushing themselves harder than like they did the previous month, the previous year, by using more weights, more reps, more methodical tempo. Probably not, but in some capacity they're progressing themselves. Usually they're probably training with like at least decent intensity. Regardless of form, if you're not training with intensity or close to failure, we all know that you're probably not going to be inducing much hypertrophy. So they're probably training at least decently hard, even if the form's not great. Number three, they're probably eating enough food to recover. And if you're lifting, driving enough food and a slight surplus is very important for you to actually build muscle. They're probably like sleeping generally pretty well and not drinking and doing a lot of the other things that would prohibit you from recovering. Those are the things that you probably can assume. Other things you might be able to assume based on their size, that they might be enhanced, because a lot of like the biggest guys in the gym tend to be, but you can't also say that they're not also doing the other things, because you can't just take gear and not progressively overload, not recover. Like, I know so many people on steroids that look like absolute garbage and never progress.
You would never guess they were on steroids.
Never guess. Things that a lot of them do wrong is tying their progress only to the weight that's being moved from A to B. I think we talk about this a lot. It's a lot more about how much acute stimulus you can create with minimizing the amount of injury risk and fatigue. So we were just talking about this before, a lot of these competitors that are in masters, their legs are downsized. And I think it has less to do with the fact that like genetically, or let's say physiologically, evolutionarily, we were just predisposed to lose our leg size, even if you're still training them. I think it has more so to do with 10, 15, 20 years of really hard, stupid, half rep training where you're wrapping the shit out of your knees, your lower back hurts, your knees are trashed. Then you get to 35 and you're like, I barely can like do a bodyweight squat because my knees are so jacked up. So I think that a lot of times the biggest guys see what's a week, a month, 6 months ahead of them, but are very rarely looking at what's it going to look like in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. Like Ronnie Coleman is a prime example. Like he continually says, I would never take it back. But
Which is cool.
Which is cool. But you could tell that Ronnie Coleman is the kind of guy that like, it probably would have behooved him to use more of like some of the techniques. And I think he would have done just as well, if not better. And obviously been able to still like walk and not have like 3 back surgeries. And not to put any shade on the king of bodybuilding. It's just more of, I fear that people see that, they'll watch that in the car on the way to the gym or sitting in the parking lot, and they want to lift squat 8 plates like Ryan. They want to put 25 plates on the leg press on each side. And they think that's the way I get to be Ronnie Coleman. Whereas it's all about how methodical and how close to failure and within the parameters of how little joint pain or how little long-term damage are we doing to the connective tissue and maximizing muscle growth within that. So I think that's what we always preach, and I think that's what the biggest dudes in the gym are usually lacking because their ego is so tied with how much weight they're lifting.
Preach. Tripods and phones in the gym. Good / innocuous, terrible / the beginning of the end of modern civilization, nuanced depending on how you use it. Where do you fall in that camp? And the bonus last question to that, because it's related, I did have an opportunity to go to, what's the gym we train at? Zoo Culture. Tons of literally wild animals on the gym floor. I understand how they get the permits for that sort of thing, but it's fun. I watched a person Instagram live their whole workout. Is that too much? In some amount of tripoding and TikToking in the middle of the workout is okay? Like, just before I want to hear your response, but my own view is like the sensor immersion of our world is inevitable. There are going to be cameras everywhere. People are going to be wearing glasses and in contact with, you're going to be streaming. You only get privacy in your own home. Get used to it. And also, I think it's great because then people can share their ideas and stuff. And also, when you're in the gym, you have zero expectation of privacy. It's a public place, private in a sense, but if the gym allows it, then like you're good to go. You got these like old man yells at cloud type motherfuckers from the 80s and 90s, like fucking tripods are ruining the fucking gym. And are they though? But I hear that some of the people using the tripod are more concerned with being on camera than they are not doing a good job and working hard. So what do you think about it? You see a lot more of that than I do.
Like you said, it's like nuance, and I'm the like I get it. Like for me, it'd be much more like clickbaity. It'd be like fuck all the dudes with the tripods, but like I think it is very nuanced. Like you said, like if you, for example, if you go to Zoo Culture, the expectation is there's cameras everywhere.
Yes.
Like you don't sign up for that gym if you're uncomfortable like being in somebody's clip at almost any given moment. Like I'll see myself in the background of so many videos,
Tons.
which is fine. Like I'm an.
It's great for your brand. So.
Now, if you go to a gym which has very strict rules on filming, and that's why somebody signed up there because maybe they're a little uncomfortable, and it's already kind of a challenge for them to get to the gym as is, and then they also know that they might show up in your video that might have 20,000 live viewers, which is obviously not the norm, but. I think there is some sort of like in between that needs to be found of like, I think it's too hard to say like who gets the right to do it based on like, let's say how well they lift or like what they're using it for.
Totally.
But I think there has to be, gym by gym, if the rule is like you can't be like actively filming, then that's the right.
Then don't do it.
So, yeah. Whereas like I see so many influencers get like so mad that they can't film, or somebody gets in the way of their camera at a corporate gym. I think there's no place for that.
That's crazy.
I think that's insane.
Motherfucker, there's no rule against the tripod, but there's also no rule against people walking through your frame.
Yeah, that's
also,
insane.
You happen to not be disarming a nuclear bomb. You ain't doing some important shit, motherfucker. You're doing easy curls. It's all right if someone walks through your fucking frame.
Yeah. It's not
On the other hand, if someone consistently walks in front of your tripod and they know you're recording, fucking common decency, people walk around. It's kind of two sides to that story. There's two ways to do it wrong.
There's two sides to every single story. Like, yes, there's like being, if you walk in somebody's camera, like just because it's like the shortest path between 2 points and you're carrying 60-pound dumbbells, like, yes, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fucking do a loop around the gym for your bitch ass.
If you stand consciously in front of somebody's camera, like resting between your sets
while they're dumbbell pressing, and they don't even know you're there, so they got nothing.
And so like that, I feel like now you're just creating confrontation to create confrontation. So like it's always going to be situation by situation.
Sure. So if you're a tripod person, if it's allowed at your gym, tripod to your heart's content. And if you're a person who is at gyms where people are tripoding and it's allowed, if it's not going out of your way, walk around. But if you have to lug the 120s and get through the frame really quick, people shouldn't expect that you're going to go around their 80 tripods they got around their shit, basically.
I agree with that.
Awesome. Okay. Dude, this has been awesome. I like doing this because, I mean, you often talk to other people, you're on your own channel. I think it's cool to be able to ask someone like you who knows so much and has an awesome perspective some fucking questions, man. So thank you for sharing with us. And thank you for letting me do it on your channel. Make sure you don't post this video. If it goes bad, just take it down and say this never happened. Worst case scenario.
I'm totally gonna keep this up. This is a legendary experience, and like I think just being here with like you and like definitely fills my cup, because I think it's not only like what you stand for in terms of like the value you're putting out, but also
justice. No, wait,
justice.
That's someone as Batman.
But also like how you like present yourself as an individual, how you treat other people. So super thankful to be here, and it's been a amazing experience. So thank you again, man.
I love it. My huge pleasure.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this like very long Q&A. Hopefully I wasn't too boring, and make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. I will see you guys on the next video.